welcome to another segment of real conversations across the great state of Mississippi with myself and Rogers Simpson. Rogers, can you say something? Tonight we have a special guest with us. Hey. Tonight we have a special guest with us, Michael Spurlock. And for those who don't know him, he is an Indianola native. I can go on and tell you about how he went to Gentry High School and then went to Ole Miss and things like that. But Mike, for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about who you are.
I'm from Indianola, Mississippi, born and raised, two-parent household, the youngest of three boys. Went to Gentry High School, got the opportunity to go further myself at Ole Miss, graduated from Ole Miss. That's where I met my wife. Married 14 years now. I have 6 kids, 4 girls, 2 boys. Got the opportunity to play 8 years in the NFL. I am now at Ole Miss. I'm a senior player analyst back at my alma mater. I live in Philadelphia, Mississippi, and I'm happy to be on your show.
Thank you so much, man. Listen, give me just a second here.
No problem. Anytime.
Thank you so much, Mike, for being on the show. We don't take it for granted, man. We respect your time. We value you. And I know you're a really busy guy. Roger Simpson. Yes. Welcome. Welcome.
What's up? I'm sorry about this bad connection we having down here.
Listen,
hey, that's okay.
You might need to move back where you were, and that's probably what happened. But listen, so for those who don't know, we're getting ready to show you a video so you can listen. I don't have to lie. Michael Spurlock is the man, okay? Look, I put a video together to let you guys see for yourself. And
that's right.
You know, feel free to leave a comment if you would like, or any questions, because I have a lot of questions once this video is done. So give us just a second and you're going to see what I'm talking about, okay?
Now Morstead punting from his own 25. Spurlock takes it at the 24-yard line. Spurlock across midfield. And Spurlock is going to take it all the way. Michael Spurlock into the end zone. 77 yards for a Tampa Bay touchdown.
We move inside of 7 minutes left in the fourth. Tampa down 14-10. Third down, Freeman throwing end zone. It's caught. Touchdown, Tampa. Michael Spurlock making the catch. There is a...
They're going to throw it on first down. And are the feet in bounds? Yes, it is a catch down to the 12-yard line by Michael Spurlock.
Cincinnati had a 7-point lead before a Carson Palmer interception at midfield. Tampa Bay then scored. And now after another Palmer interception, the throw to the sideline.
Freeman being rushed, throws into the end zone. Touchdown! Michael Spurlock. A Tampa Bay punt. 11 plays, 59 yards, and a field goal. Spurlock picking it up. And look at this. Spurlock still on his feet. No penalty flags. Spurlock will go the distance. 89 yards for Spurlock. Michael Spurlock from the 4-yard line. Very sluggish start for these Buccaneers today. And Spurlock trying to change that. Looking for a couple of blocks. Still on his feet along the sideline and run out of bounds at the 17-yard line. From his own end zone, Michael Spurlock. Very dangerous in the return game. And a kicker to beat. And hardly able to run him, or Morstead runs him out of bounds at the 34-yard.
He got mine. You need to come on now. Okay, so I get home. I got to rush my wire to Greenwood. 70 miles per hour was not fast enough. We got there, so I sat till late in the evening. He finally came. The doctor called and said, "Mr. Spurlock, you have a big, healthy baby boy." I said, "Thank you." When the mother got through and finally got where she could talk about it, she said, "You know, we're going to have a king going to games." And he's 60 over years old. He hadn't played or kicked the ball, thrown the ball, or nothing. But anyway, she thought that hadn't come to fruition. Michael started playing soccer when he was 3, which was too early. But he played because he could kick as well or better than some of the players that were old enough to play. This young man integrated the Dixie Youth through draft, went on to help win the state championship, and among his peers and coaches was chosen as the MVP. He matriculated at Gentry High School, later on to University of Mississippi at Oxford, where he received a degree in criminal justice with a minor in business and is presently pursuing a master's degree in business. A young man who told his high school principal at the time he graduated that one day he wanted to be the CEO of his own company.
All right. And I don't know if you guys were able to see the video, but the playback would be even better. But listen, Mike, when I watched that, while I was putting that together, the first thing came to my mind was this. I said, now, you know how people like to project off on other folks. I said, now, I used to run from whoopings. I wonder if Mike learned how to run so fast because maybe he was running from a whooping. Did you get a lot of whoopings as a kid?
I didn't get a lot of whoopings. My mom and my dad, neither one of them would chase you. They would just wait. My dad would like to get you while you were asleep. My mom,
There you go.
she forgot. If you know my mom is a little short, nice, sweet little lady. But when she tell you to do something, she mean for you to do it. She don't say nothing.
That's
She
bottom.
just wait.
That's the bottom.
And get you in a room where you can't go nowhere, just you and her. So she was smart about it, but no, playing football, like I said, I never wanted to play. I always thought, man, these dudes too big to follow me. So either one or two things, either you're big and you can outmuscle people, or you small and you run away from the big people. I was small, so I had to run away from the big people. So,
Mike, talk a little bit about your experience at Gentry High School. Let's start at home, and then we're gonna go abroad. What was your high school experience like? You know, as it relates to sports.
I think it was awesome. You know, I had the opportunity, like I said, I had the opportunity to go play, coming up playing soccer and travel, playing baseball and travel. So by the time I got to high school, it was like, other than school, sports was like, okay, I know I can go do this. And I mean, if anybody know me, I'm very confident in myself. And I knew I could do it. I watched it. I imitated. You know, I watched Ellis Williams go through school and those type of guys. So Miles Randall was also somebody I watched. Robert Kent. You know, I watched those guys. So I was like, okay, I'm little, but how can I take some of what they're doing and make it part of my game? And like I said, I never wanted to play football. Only reason I started playing football is because all my friends were out there. The first time I played organized football was 8th grade. And I did that because all my friends were there. I told them, I said, I'm going to play 1 year with y'all, and I'm done. I'm a baseball player. Well, when 9th grade came,
I'm sorry to cut you off, sir, because you're really killing me with that. I didn't want to play football stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I was back there then, all right? I mean, because Michael Spurlock came in from junior high, all right?
Right.
You was already selling tickets, already packing the stadiums.
Well,
at
hold
Gentry.
on, let me stop you.
Okay.
Junior high was not supposed to happen. If anybody know Frank Nitty, anybody know
Frank Nitty, baby, Frank Nitty.
So 2 people that you can, no, I'm say 3. Coach Jordan, Mr. Tommy White, and Frank Nitty, Mr. Frank Brown. Okay,
yes,
so
sir.
this is how it started. 8th grade, I told him, I said, look, Coach Shelton was the coach. I said, look, I'm going to play, but this is all y'all getting. They were like, well, who can throw the football? And I kind of bagged up, everybody pointed at me. So that's how I started playing quarterback. So I said, look, I'm playing this year and I'm done. Well, 9th grade, everybody was out there. All my friends go to practice because they played on Monday. Well, I was at home. My mom trying to cook and do all that. And I'm a little active boy. I'm bouncing off the wall. I don't have nobody to play with. All my friends at practice. My mom said, boy, I don't care what you do. Get out this house. Go watch your friend practice. They'll go do something because you're running me crazy. So I went to Gentry to watch them practice. And if you remember the old, where they practice at, old bleachers, got to the very top. I wanted to be as far away from practice as possible. I want to see them, but nobody see me. So I sat at the very top. And I'm gonna tell you, and I turned around, your feet, you sitting backwards. So Coach Brown was like, hey, come on down, man. You ain't gotta sit way up there. You can come closer. So again, I'm far enough back. I don't want nobody to confuse me that I'm playing. So by that time, Coach Tommy White, hey man, you come on out here, ain't no problem. So by that time, I look like I'm part of the team.
Yeah.
So they said, we got practice tomorrow at 4:00. We'll see you at practice. So either say yes now, or by the time you get home, we're gonna call your dad and he gonna make you say.
And they're gonna come get you now.
So I said, well, I mean, I don't have nothing else to do. Y'all gonna make me play anyway. So all my friends out here, I'm gonna play. So that's how it started. This was not supposed to happen. Baseball was my thing.
Wow.
No parts of baseball. So as time went on, by the time I got to my junior year in high school, recruiters started coming around. I knew nothing about recruiters other than Robert Kent recruited, Miles Randall being recruited. You know, I heard Ellis. I knew he was at Mississippi at the time, but I knew nothing about recruiters. So I'm like, man, I'm getting these letters. What's going on? So a guy by the name of Marion Hobby was recruiting me from Ole Miss. And so I'm like, excuse me, like, what do you do? He said, I am a coach, but I'm a recruiter. I'm here to recruit you to Ole Miss. I said, explain that to me. He said, I'm on your scholarship. I said, when you say a scholarship, what does that mean? He said, we're going to pay for your school. I said, full ride. Like, I don't need no money. You're going to pay for it. I said, but y'all got to let me play baseball too. He said, no, we're going to let you play baseball too. So I went home and told my parents, I said, look, this guy said he's going to give me a scholarship to Ole Miss. Don't let him play football and baseball. So I just saved y'all money. So we need to look at getting me a car.
That's true.
I just saved y'all some money. So I was negotiating at a very young age.
That's awesome.
Like I said, we didn't have money to go to school or anything like that. I wanted to go to Miami. That's where my favorite school was, Miami Hurricane. I went out there. I didn't know that they were a private school and it cost so much money to go there. So how I ended up in state was I was like, well, my mom and them and my mom and dad, they're gonna be older. They got to get on planes and stuff to come see me. I'm gonna stay in state. And I went to Ole Miss again, playing basketball and everything. Everybody like, well, you know why they got tall trees up there, don't it? I was like, well, every time I go, they show me love. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Right.
So my parents were like, well, it's wherever you want to go to school. It's not where we're not gonna play a snap. But when my parents got up there, they showed me a great time. They were great people, and they showed that they were trying to get away from what went on back in the 1950s and all that.
Yes.
And that's why I chose Ole Miss. And get back. I kind of got off, but getting back to Gentry, it was just about my parents were educators. My mom was in the school system, so I couldn't mess up at school. Playing sports was like, that was a no-brainer. I had to deal with Coach Hickenbottom, and I laugh now because me and him bumped heads then because I think he thought he was right and I thought I was right. But I look and watch basketball now, and everything that he taught me, I use now because that's how you play basketball. Good defense, blocking out, that's part of it, and just my upbringing there, I was able to take that to where I am now. So, Gentry, a lot of people talk about being in Indianola, this and that. I come from public school. I think it's the people, not where you go to this school or that school. I think the teachers back then, in my opinion, they wanted you to succeed because it meant something back then to be a teacher. You do have teachers nowadays that resemble that, but a lot of times teachers, it's an easy job. You get good insurance, you get good retirement, and you get a check once a month, But back then, when they were raised to be a teacher, you were a distinguished black man or black woman.
It was
to
noble.
be educated. Yes, it meant something. And that's what I remember. I remember all the teachers, you're not walking across the stage if you don't go take government with Coach White. So however you do it,
Oh
you
man, history. We know Coach White, Coach kid to everybody we talked about. Everybody with his cousin, auntie, nephew, everything. I took Coach White too now.
So that is part of upbringing. That's something that I hold with high esteem because it helped me be who I am. When you went to class, it was okay, Mike Spurlock. Okay, what is Pastor Spurlock to you? What is Willis Spurlock to you? Do you know Alexander Spurlock? Do you know Ken Spurlock? So when they get to naming those names, you're like, oh Lord, they know my whole family. So okay, who's in this class? And that was just part of it. So I enjoy it, and Gentry will always be dear and near to my heart. So
always.
Mike, let me ask you, you are the baby of the family, as we say down south, the baby.
I am the baby. Growing up, my mother introduced me to everybody. This is my baby, and now I'm 30 years old. I'm still her baby. That would never change. And yes, I'm the youngest of three boys, or I'm the baby, however you put it.
Right.
But to my mama, yes.
Because see, when you get grown, you don't want that baby title. You say I'm the youngest of, But let's talk now that we've talked about mom. We can't talk about mom without talking about dad. And on that video,
right,
he introduced you. You were getting ready to speak to First United Baptist that day, and he said that he had to rush you to the hospital, and shortly thereafter, when she was able to speak, she said, she's saying, we got a champion here. We got a king. And he said the baby hadn't even spoken or hadn't even walked, she just spoke greatness in you. And talk a little bit about dad, man.
It's a blessing. A lot of people don't get to have their parents around, or, you're from a single parent household. I had the opportunity. I had three dads, but my dad, he passed, I guess it's going on 2 years now. And I remember I would always talk to him after practice, after games. You found the time to talk to your dad, and you find time, no matter who you are, you always want, okay, dad think that this is a good thing or that you did well. And you always look for his pretty much stamp of approval. But me and my dad, he was always at game. I remember I used to ask my dad all the time, like, do you know how like jeans or sweatpants that you can come to practice in. Because like my dad was always, no matter where he going in a white shirt. He gonna have a tie on, gonna have some slacks. He gonna have them Stacey Adams, and he used to come straight from work. At that time, he was at it was the cat. I can't even think. South Fresh Farm. He was there, and he would come straight from there, take me to baseball practice, and he was always want to be early. So we were always 45 minutes, 30 minutes early. And I'm like, Dad, like, if you're gonna get out here and help practice, like, you got Stacey Adams on, like, what are you doing? You know, like, this ain't cool. He roll his sleeves up and come out there and help with practice. And I remember being in the yard, and he was always, from the first time I played, he said, now don't ever just be on the team. If you're gonna be on the team, make sure you produce and be productive with the team, And I miss my dad, but my dad always would live near and live through us. My kids laugh all the time. We used to go eat. Like, if you know my mom, go eat at her house. She's gonna make the table. I'm like, Mom, you ain't gotta do all that. We just eating Popeye. She was like, no, you gotta. So she bring out all the plate. My dad was at the head of the table. And he always would get on my kids because my kids wanted to get drink before they eat. And so now when we go to my mom's house, she does the same thing. And we laugh because the kids, we like, if Papa was here, he wouldn't let us have no drink. We had to eat first. And, so you laugh about those stories. It's a joyous moment. You're sad that he's not here with you. But at the same time, I think between me and my brothers, we always have a piece of him. We're like, we got different parts of him. My brother now, Ken, he always talk about, well, Dad always gave you a long term and then speak. He's like, that's where I get my tongue from, being able to talk to people that come from Dad. And my dad was a very special individual. He gonna talk. I'm talking about. I remember having a wreck in my mom's car, going out of town, wasn't supposed to. And he woke me up the next morning. First, I'm just getting back home 2, 3 in the morning. He wakes me up 6 o'clock. All right, come on. We're going to reenact it. I'm like, Dad, I told you what happened. Dog ran out, and I hit the dog. I wrecked the car. No, how fast were you going? Where were your hands? And we laugh about that now because I hear him when I'm talking to my kids. And like I said, special man, will always be with us. I always laugh at. I remember the first time picking up the phone, trying to call my dad, and like, man, he's not here. But you want to do that, but I think he's always with us. And until we meet again, I think he'll always be with us, and the spirit will always be around us. So
listen, you talked about learning how to negotiate early. Did you get that from your father?
Most definitely. My dad is. We laugh all the time and use all these dignified words and like that.
My
what
father
does that word mean? But my dad is a guy that he's gonna read. I remember I used to have to write papers. He used to write red pens all over it. Like, no, you need to change this word. I'm like, Dad, I just spent 3 hours writing this paper. And you wrote all over it. Like, you realize I got to write it all over. Yeah, like you got to make sure that it's perfect and this and that. And if you ever looked at his handwriting, he had to write checks because nobody understood. Like, Dad, I can't understand this. What did you say? So he was good at it. I mean, a very great speaker. So I think all of my brothers, we get that from him, being able to speak. And I don't think either one of us are very shy getting up and standing in front of people and having a conversation. And I always laugh at him.
To me, Alexander is more on the shy side, but if you know him, he will rip your jaw out of your face and have you laughing. He's hilarious.
And I laugh because people used to ask me like, "Is Alexander your brother?" I'm like, "Alexander." Oh, you talking Eric? Like, yeah, that's my brother. He's so quiet. I'm like, are we talking about the same person? Like, he not quiet? Oh, he real quiet and shy. I'm like, okay, but no, he ain't. So
no, he's not
at all.
Listen, being the youngest in the family, did he ever rough you up? Because I think Ken was probably gone, and it was that you two. Because Ken is older, right?
Ken is 13 years older than me, and Eric is 4 years. So Ken was gone back and forth, pretty much ripping and running. Me and Eric, we all were raised, but Ken was more like a father figure than a brother because he was so much older. You know, he was always my big brother. You wanted to please your big brother. But me and Eric were kind of raised together, being that he's 4 years old. When he was in high school, like 12th grade, I was 8th grade. So I kind of hung out with him a little bit, but other than sports, we didn't hang out. Like, I knew that was my brother, but if he was going over here, I had to go the complete opposite way because he was like, "No, you don't get to hang out with me now." I'm like, "No." So, but being the youngest, I would say he roughed me up a little bit, but not much because he knew I had the golden ticket, and that was, I'm telling mama, like, I'm running to mama, don't touch me, you know. So, but no, I think we
That's
all have a
Mike.
great
Don't touch Mike
relationship.
now.
We all
Don't
have a
touch
great
Mike.
relationship. Ken, I think now me and Ken are closer now because I guess in my mind, I'm grown. So we have more grown-up conversation. I still look up to him, but I look up to him more now as a big brother, not so much as a father figure. Where when I was growing up, in my mind, I was like, dude, Eric, I don't mind tussling with him, but Ken crazy, and I can't mess with him. So if he say do something, like, okay, yeah, I got you, I'm gonna do it.
Listen, now, let's fast forward. Let's take us to your experience at Ole Miss. You know, I know early on you were speaking highly of Ole Miss, and when we were backstage, we talked a little bit about how you integrated the Dixie. I think your father even spoke it on the video, how you were the first one to integrate the Dixie League. I think that's what it's called. And so with that being said, you were no stranger to the people across the tracks, if you will. Like, and even being recruited to Ole Miss and you negotiating with Mr. What you say his name, Marion Hobby?
Yes.
Yes. Being recruited by him and negotiating with him, apparently you felt like I'm going to say more comfortable negotiating your own deal and understanding, hey, I don't have a problem with the people across the track. Talk a little bit about going to Ole Miss and your experience.
Well, my mother worked at Lockhart, so growing up, there was a lot of boys and girls that would walk up and say, "Hey, this is my mom," and I'm looking like, I've never seen you at my table. I've never eaten with you, but at Lockhart, it was more mixed than Gentry. So I had the opportunity to meet a lot of white boys, white girls, and being able to go play at Dixie Youth, I was pretty much the only black over there. I think Marcus Williams ended up coming over, Will Barnes, Kendrick David. So I think being the only black, it was nothing to me because to me, it was not about being black or white. It was about being a human being. That's another little boy that I'm competing with. And, you know, I tell people the story all the time. My first interaction with racism was, you know, at the park, we just emptied the bats out. And if you could swing the bat, that's the bat you use. This was a whole new world for me at the Habitat for Humanity game. Everybody had their own bat. Well, again, this bat was laying on the ground. I just picked it up to use it. Kid runs up and say, "No, you can't use my bat." I'm like, "Oh well." A guy that became my best friend, his name is Johnson Berry. If you know the Blue Biscuit, his mom owns the Blue Biscuit, Miss Trish. And so he said, "Man, don't worry about that. Huh? Use my bat." And I'm like, "Cool." And that's how we became friends. And me and him ended up playing on the same team. And like, that's my best friend, one of my best friends to this day. But I knew nothing about racism. Even at that time, I didn't understand that this is racism. You know, I've been called the N-word, but I think the N-word is how you feel about yourself. Because the N-word is something that, you know, it's a term of endearment when I'm talking to my friends. And for him to call me that, more friends around him were looking at him like, okay, is Michael about to knock this kid out, or
Yeah.
we don't know what's about to happen? It was a shock to them, but in my mind, it was more so you heard this from somebody else before. You know what I mean? You just didn't just come out. And so to me, I was just like, okay, I know where your mind
That's
at.
great.
So my
That's
mind
great.
was at every turn, I'm gonna put it to you. I'm gonna beat you at everything just to let you know. Now when I go to Ole Miss, the reason that I went to Ole Miss was, being recruited, everybody said, well, Eli Manning was the best. Well, I got to compete with the best. In 2003, Eli
Yeah.
Manning was the #1 overall draft pick. I got to compete for 3 years with him. I got
Wow.
to be around. Peyton would come up during the spring. I got to be around Archie, Olivia. Got to meet his wife Abby. She went to Ole Miss as well.
Let
So
me
it
ask you
was
something.
yes.
Eli's brother, where was he at that time in the NFL? Was he with the Giants
I think
or
Peyton, Peyton,
Peyton's brother?
Peyton,
yeah,
Peyton,
Peyton was with Indianapolis
Peyton,
Colts at the time.
Peyton,
the
he was
coach.
the Indianapolis coach.
Okay.
Yep,
He
he
come from
would come
Tennessee.
up because see, our head coach David Cutcliffe was the offense coordinator at Tennessee for Peyton. That's how Eli ended up at Ole Miss.
Oh wow.
So Peyton would come up every spring and work out with us.
Oh wow.
Cooper, the older brother, actually
Mm-hmm.
was living in Oxford at the time, and I got to compete with everybody
The
talking
best.
about Archie Man, and Eli looked in the record books every day. Every record he wanted to beat up his dad. He
Oh
was that big of
wow.
a competitor.
Oh
Everybody talk
wow.
about Eli this, Eli that, but I mean the man got 2 championships, and he's probably one of the biggest competitors I've been around. And I got
Oh
to compete
wow.
with him for 3 years. So it was a good opportunity. I remember my freshman year, me being from Indianola, I don't know any better. In college, I wanted to dress up every day to go to class. Well, I remember walking to class and people stepping off the sidewalk, and I'm like, that's odd. So the next day, I would wear Ole Miss football gear. Those same people would wave, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "You ain't speak to
Oh
me." Okay,
wow.
I dress up again.
Right.
They walk off the sidewalk, but I think what it taught me was, okay, just because I got Ole Miss football on, you're a fan of mine. You know what I mean? So you got to use it for what it was worth. I mean, I stopped dressing up to class. I kept Ole Miss football on and called it that. But it was more so about. I remember being in a speech class and we got in the groups. When people get to know you, then their mind changed. But just like, I mean, let's be honest. When we grew up, it was, hey, don't mess with this person and this person because you're black and they're white. And their family was probably telling them the same thing. But then when we sit at the same table and realize, other than our color, we're the same. If you cut us, we bleed. Some of those people are some of my best friends because we were able to sit down and go, because that's the real world. Being black, white, Mexican, Indian, no matter what you are, I mean, we're human beings, and understand that just because where you come from, that don't make you any different. You just raw different, but we're still people.
And you know what, Mike? And I have this philosophy. I said there's only one race, and that's the human race. Because
Right.
We're all human, and I
Yep.
have to agree with you. And those experiences make you a better person. It makes you. For me, it allows it. I said, you know what? Let me allow this person to be human. Just because I'm a journalist, it doesn't say that I'm not a black journalist. I'm still black, but I'm a journalist, So
Right.
I bring those experiences to the table with me, but still allowing people to be human,
Oh yeah.
above all.
Yes,
Roger,
definitely.
do you have any questions for Spurlock? Because right now we're talking about Ole Miss and we get ready to shift gears to Tampa. And
I
like
think
I
you
said,
might
we're
have
getting
kicked
ready
him
to
off.
shift gears to Tampa. We're going to talk about Tampa because we know that the Super Bowl is coming up. But right before I shift gears, I'm going to allow my co-host to say whatever it is that he needs to say before we move over and start talking about Tom Brady and the rest of them, because we want to hear what you have to say about Tampa Bay. Roger, do you have anything else to say about Ole Miss?
Who you asking?
Do you have anything else to say about Ole Miss?
As far as his experiences at Ole Miss?
Or yes, his football career or whatever. You know, he talked about Eli. He talked about Peyton and Archie, and how he would come and work out with them in the spring, his brother, and you know, just his all-around experience as a student at Ole Miss. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I want to go back to the high school. Just a little second before we step into that Tampa Bay era.
Okay.
Mike, I kind of experienced a little of that type of discrimination when I first went to Delta State. You know, I was the first guy to play football at Delta State, and that was the kind of same experience I got when I first got to Delta State. I used to be, I was an old country boy from Indianola, Mississippi, and drove up there in my granddad's old regular truck. And you know, I didn't know no other way. You know, but when I went to class, you know, everybody come to class and wouldn't speak to me. But then one of the football players recognized me, and he's speaking. That made everybody else want to speak. I'm like, oh, they wasn't gonna say nothing if he had never.
Well, it's amazing how the game of football, you know, we laugh about it, but on Sunday, nobody cares if you're black, white, Mexican, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing they care about, are you a Chiefs fan or a Buccaneer fan? If you're a Buccaneer fan, we have something in common, so we can cheer and we can high five and hug. But the funny part about that, once the game is over, we go our separate ways. And if we saw each other on the street, we probably wouldn't speak because of our race or whatever. And that's the sad part about it. On Sunday, we are one, but as soon as that game is over, we part ways. So,
but the takeaway is this: we got something in common, and it just happened to be sports.
Yes, that's the thing about sports. It's a level playing field because no matter. Like
What'd you say, Roger?
I'm saying he was saying that at Ole Miss or Tampa.
No. We were talking about in general. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Mike, let's ease back a little bit now. Because I'm really, you know, you my favorite player now. You my number one fan, and I just want to go back to high school just for a little bit because I think you still have a state record as far as 587. 44.
544
Why don't
yards. You're gonna
just think about that. Think about that. Just let that soak in your head for a minute. Come on now. 544 yards and 9 touchdowns.
It was 9 touchdowns, yes, sir. Yep.
544 yards and 9 touchdowns in one game. People don't even get that their whole high school career.
Wow.
In one game.
All I remember we were talking earlier. The only thing I can tell you about that is it was very little defense on the field that night. Because I want to say Noah Ingram rushed for 500 some yards, and I passed for 500 some yards. So it was like me and him were out there by ourselves.
Wow.
You and Noah Ingram.
Yes.
What positions did you play in high school, Mike?
If you know
football,
Coach Taylor, if you played offense, you had no chance of playing defense. So I played quarterback my whole life. Coach Frank Brown was the only somebody let me play free safety, and it was really toward the end of the game just to get an interception and stuff like that. I went to
Lord have mercy, don't get hurt. Somebody's gonna lose their job. Somebody's gonna lose their job. Somebody's gonna lose.
Can we play defense? He'll just look at us and turn his head. He wouldn't even answer. You knew the answer to it.
You already knew. You already knew. Man.
So when so Roger, you were talking about your experience at Delta State and how
Yeah.
you know, when a football player acknowledged you, you know, then you were so popular, you know.
Yeah.
But
And I didn't never understand that because when I graduated from high school, I had one white in my class, you know, one white. That was Jerry Pates. One white boy in my class.
shout
Out of
out your
all
coach.
of like, huh?
Shout out your coach, your Delta State coach.
Coach Red Parker, baby.
And Mike, who was your coach at Ole Miss?
It was David Cutcliffe, and then my last year I had Ed Orgeron.
Okay.
Let me make a note of that, but let me tell you, I should have stayed my butt at Delta State because the next year, Red Parker left. I got mad because he redshirted me. He said, okay, Sims, you're going to be a fine ball player, but we're going to redshirt you this year. And, woo, woo. I said, man, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. You talking about redshirt me? And then the next year, he took his whole 85 class to Ole Miss. To Ole Miss.
Wow.
Sure did.
They fought. You're saying
I'm trying to think of my boy. No, that was his class. He took it to Ole Miss, the whole freshman class. He had a good recruiting class. What is this boy's name? Yeah, he took his whole class to Ole Miss. I had left. I ran out late one night and got my trunk and headed to Valley. My partner called me and said, hey, man, you come over here and try out with us. Sure did. Now, look, I think about it sometimes, man, if I just listen to Red Parker, I've probably been doing something now. But, you know,
listen.
I got an education. I did all right.
It happened.
So, Mike,
it happened.
We're going to shift
gears.
And we're going to talk about how your experiences at Gentry and Ole Miss. And did you ever get any outside training in addition to being at Ole Miss to help for you, you know, to be seen and recognized by the NFL?
So first of all, again, it was never my hopes and dreams to go play in the NFL. So what ended up happening was we end up a guy by the name of Marcus Johnson. He's like my big brother. He was getting drafted my junior year, and so his agent would come to our games. Well, his agent a year later was like, "Hey, your friend that was with that you play ball with, does he have any representation?" And I was calling my big brother like, "Hey, do you mind? I mean, does he mind representing me? Because I really just want somebody to represent me. Let me try out, let me close that door, and go get a job." Well, what ended up happening was he called and I called, and so it was around about December. He flew me out to San Diego. I trained out there probably 2 weeks and came back home for Christmas. And it was a situation to where he was like, "Look, I think we can at least, if not drafted, I think if you get in the camp somewhere, I think you're going to have a long career." And I'm like, "I don't know what you see, but I trust you. I want to try it out." So I ended up flying back out there in January. I went from January to March, training 6 days a week. And so we end up meeting the special teams coach from Arizona, and we end up hiring a punter, paid him $500, hired a video, somebody to video it, paid them $500, and the punter kicked me like 35, 40 punts. And we made a video and sent it to all 32 teams, but Arizona ended up calling me. It was 6th round. They called and said, "Hey, we might get you in the 6th round. We won't get you in the 6th round. We're going to get you as a priority free agent." So they did take me in the 6th round. As soon as the draft was over, my agent was like, "Hey, your contract is on the way. You're going to Arizona." So that's how it started. Yep.
Okay.
So how long were you with the Cardinals?
I was in the Cardinals for a year in a training camp. So pretty much from I went out in June until the following August. So the following August they released me. And short story, but my wife at the time, we had just bought a house in February. My wife was 8.5 months pregnant, and I'm flying to Tampa to get a job. So my wife was still in, yes. So my wife was still in Arizona. And the story about her and her journey with me in NFL, I was going work out, she was going to walk. And from Tampa, the guy that helped recruit me, his name is Rich Versace. He's the assistant coach, head special coach at the Las Vegas Raiders right now. He said, hey, what you doing? I was like, nothing, about to go work out. He said, how far are you from the airport? I was like, 30 minutes. Why? He said, do you think you'll want to come try out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I was like, yeah. So we turned the car around, we raced home, and I asked my wife, I was like, well, how should I pack? She said, well, pack like you're not coming home. So I'm the only guy going on the tryout. I got 2 big luggages. So the guy picked me up from the airport, probably about 9 o'clock that night. He said, you pack light, huh? Being sarcastic, I was like, yeah. I said, well, my wife told me to pack like I'm not coming home. So I'm going in the hotel, 2 big luggages, and I'm only, in their mind, look at, buddy, you only gonna be here for a couple hours. Like,
that's a
what
smart
are you doing?
wife. That's a smart
woman.
woman.
So end up making the team. I mean, end up getting the tryout. They were supposed to come get me for breakfast. No breakfast. End up trying out, and I got it. And that was kind of history.
And speaking of history, you made history in Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Man, listen.
So it was
finish
history.
With the story about your wife, how she told you to pack because she's pregnant.
Pregnant, like this baby. So when I
the
signed,
baby's almost here.
Yes, I signed, and I told him, I said, look, I'm signing, but my wife is about to give birth any day now. So whenever I get that call, I'm flying back out. Well, I stayed in the hotel, so I didn't get a place. I just lived in a hotel, which was connected to the airport. Well, I get a call. I guess I went out there September. My daughter was born September 18th, so I was out there maybe 2 weeks. And middle of the night, my wife called. She's probably 2 hours behind us at the time. She called and she's like, I think my water broke. I said, you think? I was like, I need you to know because I got to call you and get on the flight. She was like,
make preparation.
I mean, you might have to bleep this part out. I was like, well, I know I didn't use the bathroom. So, yes, my water did break. So I called and the guy was like, hey, I'm going to call you back. I'm walking to get on the plane. And he said, well, we're going to release you today and enjoy, the birth of your child. And I'm like, what? Like, so I'm going out here, baby is about to be born, and I have no job. So I don't tell my wife until after, like, we get home and everything. Like, yeah. She was like, how long you home? I was like, well, a while. She was like, what do you mean? Like, when do you go back? I was like, I don't know. Cut me. When I called them, they called me back and said they were releasing me. So long story short, they called me and said, hey, how's the baby doing? Let us know when you want to come back. We'll fly you back out, I'm like, oh, y'all was serious. He was like, yeah, we want you to see your baby, but, I mean, we got work to do. You got to get back to work. And so I stayed for a week. My parents and her parents flew out, kind of helped take care of things. I flew back. The money that I missed, they put it back in my check. And, to me, it's a first-class organization. And, a lot of times people say, hey, we take care of you, but I mean, they really did. They got a ball, put my daughter's name on it, how much she weighed and everything, like welcome to the family, little Buccaneer. And, it was a blessing. And that's why I hold them near and dear because they did. They took care of me. I grew up there, so it was a big thing.
So you're saying, okay, Roger, were you about to say something?
Okay, I was just going to say that the day of that momentumous run, and you were just back there, loosening your calves up and getting ready. How did you feel that day? I mean, how did you feel when you first woke up?
Well, that's the funny thing about it. Of course, Ken Spurlock, I'm talking to him on the way to the game. And he was like, man, anybody can do this and that. He was like, if you're gonna be out there, you
And
got to do something.
and that's exactly how he talk.
And I'm like, I appreciate you giving me, this good luck speech before the game. Like,
Yeah.
but if you know my brother,
Yeah.
is no chaser. He don't give it to you straight. And
Yeah.
so I talked to him before the game. And Derrick Brooks came up to me maybe a week or two before I had a big run. And he came up to me the day before the game. He said, man, boy, it's a nice day. He said, it's a real good day to run one back today. I'm just saying. It's a good day to run one back. And so, of course, you feeling like, okay, this Derrick Brooks, Hall of Famer, like, okay,
Exactly.
today is a good day. We win this game, we clinch the South, and we go to the playoffs. Well, the rest is history.
That was against Atlanta Falcons. Is that correct?
Against Atlanta Falcons.
Primetime Sanders team.
Yes.
Primetime people.
And, we ended up winning the South. That we had the number one kickoff return. I mean, we ended up getting the first kick return in Buck history, winning the South that day. And, we were laughing about it because early on, everybody was like, yeah, man, we never ran the kickback. I was like, y'all have? He was like, no, that was in the preseason. We've never ran one back in history. It's been 32 years. I'm
in
like,
the game.
People run these back like at least once or twice a year. Y'all have never had one. And so that was a big thing. They used to put like, hey, first somebody run one back, you win $1 million and this and that. I was like, well, that would have been nice to happen if it was on my kickoff return, but they stopped doing that.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yep. But no, it was a great day. It was a 90-yard kickoff return. Some special guys that I had bonded.
Show us, Mike. I'm going to put you solo, and you're going to show us the memorabilia that your wife brought into you.
So so anytime you do anything good in a game, become player of the game, they give you a little sludge hammer. And the sludge hammer.
So like they do what they.
My name, returner. That's versus the Falcons, 12-16-07. And then on the other side, it has first in Bucks history, return for a TD. Little sludge hammer. Yeah, my kids, my boys end up not trying to knock each other out with it. So, but this is my little piece of heaven right here.
Oh wow, that's awesome, man. That is awesome. And
man,
Ellis
that's great. That's
talk a little bit about Ellis. You guys made history at Tampa.
Well, I made history one way, but my hat goes off to Ellis. Same high school. I mean, from Easy Street.
Come on.
I remember playing football against Easy Street, and Ellis always was a big dude. Remember him going to Mississippi State. For him to be a small town guy from Indianola, go to Tampa, get drafted. You cheer for people that it's like you always see people not from your hometown, but you see in movies or other people talk about people. But for you to know somebody, I mean, I think it was a blessing. I was probably one of the biggest cheerleaders. His little brother, we played basketball and football together, and there was always a big thing. Oh, well, I'm going to Mississippi State game. I'm going to see my brother. To go watch him play, I wasn't even a fan of the Buccaneers, but I was an Ellis Wim fan, playing with him in the video game. For them to win a Super Bowl, like that's something that you dream of. And for him to be from small town Indianola, from Gentry High School, I mean, I was probably just as happy as he was, just like I wanted. You know what I mean? So
for real, I'm
happy.
That's the truth.
I want to say a couple years ago they did the 50-year anniversary for people that went to the Super Bowl for the NFL, and they did some picture. But I was the biggest fan for Ellis. I don't know if he know that, but I was cheering for him. I always looking for 96. Okay, Ellis on the field. Let's go. It was a blessing. It shows kids from Indianola that don't complain about where you're from. Don't complain about your circumstance, because don't let your circumstance be the outcome or your future. Just, okay, this is where I start, but this is not where I have to
Saying
end
where
up.
I
So,
finished.
I
Yeah.
have a comment here. I was about to call you Ellis. I have a
Ellis, yeah.
comment here from someone who said he was a coach during that time, and I'm getting ready to read it. And his
Okay.
name is Alfred Thomas Jr. He said,
Okay.
I was on the coaching staff at Gentry when this young man was in high school, the best high school quarterback in Mississippi, a better young man than athlete who went through a lot of adversity through college to get to the pros. Do
Yeah.
you know, are you familiar with Alfred Thomas? Because I know Hannibal knows Alfred.
Well, I want to say, if that's who I think it is, was he a DB coach for us during that time?
I'm not sure. But he coached Hannibal. So I can't remember. Hannibal was like tight end or cornerback or something.
Yeah,
So
if
and
I'm not
Book.
mistaken, I think that's who it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I mean, I am very appreciative of his comments. A lot of people, some people complain or some people celebrate you, but anytime somebody talk well about you, my dad and my parents always say, you don't speak the things that you do, you let other people speak for you. And, for somebody to say that, that's a blessing. And let him know that I'm very appreciative, and I am thankful that he put up with us during that time, because I'm sure we were a rowdy bunch.
Listen, you talk about a rowdy bunch. Listen, he said yes, he was the DB coach. He said he had Bible study with you guys.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yep. Ask him, where is he now? What is he doing now?
He's in Greenwood now, and
Okay.
he's in sales.
Okay, well,
With
tell him.
AT&T.
Okay, well, I had to stop through there and see him one day when I'm coming to Indianola.
Listen,
Man, I tell you.
we have some more comments here from Miss Betty Sims Hawkins. She said, Gentry High School class of 1969 congratulates you. And then we have a Bunny, a Simpson. She said, that's how you do when you're not jealous. You celebrate the victory of other players. And that is correct. And it's enough victory to go around. It's enough history
Oh
to
yeah.
be made.
Oh yeah. Oh
Everybody
yeah.
can leave their mark. Roger, what do you say about everybody having their opportunity to leave a mark? You have an opportunity. Roger?
You got to look at, you have to look at that maroon and white from Gentry High. Just says it all. I mean, when you go there, you're just destined for greatness. You're just destined for greatness, and that's what it's been with Spurlock and Ellis Williams. Nothing but greatness, and I commend that to the fullest.
Absolutely. And I just want to throw in there that, me coming from Gentry High School, I worked at ESPN myself, and I'm not talking about in Chicago or Atlanta. I worked at the ESPN at the headquarters in Bristol, Connecticut. So, we're talking about greatness across the board. I'm talking about, we're talking sports newscasters, people like that. And when I went, of course, it was an entry-level position, but nobody from Mississippi or from a high school or one of the HBCUs were working at ESPN at that time. And I represented my school, Gentry High School, Mississippi Valley State University, to the utmost. And I must say that I got my start at MDCC, and I tell people, don't sleep on those junior colleges, because I was not a good test taker, right? So I didn't score well on the ACT, and we're getting ready to wrap it up. But I didn't score well on the ACT, and man, when I tell you, I had one of the best college professors right there at MDCC. That was my first time learning what a lecture was. Okay, because see, I'm used to being the class clown. I'm used to raising my hand, saying what it is that I feel that Angie Simpson needs to say. But my professor, his name was Mr. Culpepper. Mr. Culpepper was awesome. I found out years later that he liked to ride motorcycles. But look, he taught me what I needed to know to take my collegiate career seriously. And I'm just glad for MDCC, Mississippi Valley Gentry High School, and greatness again has come from Gentry High School, like Roger was saying. And I just wanted to let's move forward right quick and talk about the Super Bowl. It is tomorrow. Today is my birthday. I gotta get going because my husband wants to take me somewhere. But I want to say, let's talk about the Super
happy
Bowl,
birthday
man.
first. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. It is a blessing to be on this side of the day.
Definitely.
But let me bring Roger back in right quick before we go, because we could talk about how much greatness has come through Gentry. It would take a whole nother 2-3 shows just to talk
definitely.
about some of the great people who have come through Gentry High School. But we're gonna shift gears right quick, Roger. Thank you so much for bringing that up about how we had so much greatness to come through Gentry High School, man. And we can go on and on, but we're gonna have to wrap it up. And I just want to shift gears and talk a little bit about Tom Brady. Now, Ellis said he's going for Tampa Bay, of course. Now, I'm gonna ask you, who do you think is gonna win this thing, Spurlock?
Come on, man. We're at home. We playing.
He know what to say. He know what to say.
You're at home.
He know what to say.
Let's be honest. The GOAT is playing tomorrow. What is it? It'll be 7 out of 10.
Okay.
I mean, just think about that. Going to the Super Bowl, some people don't get to go once. You're gonna go 10 times. 10.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that now. That's big time. So just know that I think it's gonna be a great show. I think Patrick Mahomes is a really good quarterback. The Chiefs are a really good team, but more than anything, I mean, I think Tom Brady is his time right now. It's his time.
And with that being said, let's talk about what the wide receivers need to do. What do they need to do on tomorrow for Tampa Bay?
Oh man, they got to get open.
Okay.
Tom ain't gonna move too far, but Tom gonna make sure that he get the ball to his playmakers. I think more so. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you got Tyreek Hill, you have Travis Kelce. Those guys are big playmakers for the Chiefs. So both sides have really good offenses. Is what defense is going to stand up. Whatever defense plays well, if you put pressure on Tom Brady or keep Patrick Mahomes in the pocket where he can't extend the play to put pressure on the defense, I think Tampa has a chance if they able to do that to Patrick Mahomes. I think the Buccaneers, they're going to be victorious. So, again, I'm going for the Bucs. So I want a good game, but I just need the Bucs to win.
Ellis made a comment about defense. He said they are going to have to hunt. Do you agree with that?
Oh, most definitely. The Buccaneers with so many playmakers on Kansas City side, I really feel like the front four, Pierre Paul, has to go out there and have a heck of a game. Adama Sue, heck of a game. They're going to have to get pressure with 4 because if they try to bring extra guys, you put those guys on the back end one-on-one. I mean, Tyreek Hill, he's going to blow the top off, and then Travis Kelce, I've seen 2-3 people can't hold him. So you better not put 1 out there.
Now, let me ask you about the momentum.
We're gonna have to blitz. They're gonna have to blitz more.
You said,
so what answer?
Roger?
He said they have to blitz more.
I said they're gonna have to blitz more.
Okay.
I have to pick their spots because Patrick Mahomes, he's the real deal too now.
And he's younger.
Got
so
to.
We got now. Ellis said we got the sheriff. The old sheriff is in town. So hey, we got to make sure that we're paying attention because you're talking about a vet, man. You're talking about a veteran. And now let's talk a little bit about the momentum, and I'm going to let you go once I read this comment. But the momentum of the game, some people, and my husband always say that, Tom Brady is a comeback winner. Like, they could be down. You could be all the way down. It doesn't matter because Tom Brady is going to find a way to come back. They're going to find a way to succeed. They're going to find a way to get that win. do they need to go hard the whole entire game, or do they need to just feel their way, and then after halftime come back and punch it, or what do you think that strategy should be going into the Super Bowl, if that makes sense?
So my rookie year, I had the opportunity to be around a guy named Edrin James, and he told me, he said, "Now, little brother, the preseason, we out there just playing around." He said the first probably 3-4 games, people come out hard, then they coast in the middle. Then when they find out who going to the playoffs is a whole nother level. Super Bowl, I can only imagine. I think it's no coasting because you don't have anything to play for tomorrow. After Sunday's over, it's not another game next week. So it ain't no, well, we're going to settle in. And I think it's going to be nerves early on, but you got to give it everything you got. One, you don't know if you're going to ever get that opportunity again. You don't want to have that regret.
Right.
If I could do it again, I would do this. If I had another opportunity, I would do that. I don't think it's about settling in. It is a game of momentum, but when you go out there, you better keep throwing your haymakers, because if you don't throw your haymakers, you might get knocked out before you get the opportunity if you save them.
And Mike, let me say this. When you ran that ball all the way back for a touchdown, I know we were in the green room talking, and and Roger was talking to you about your calf muscles and things like that. Listen, look, they don't know that you're about to burn out, right? But what are you feeling? What are you feeling in that moment when you're running that ball all the way back?
Well, it's an opportunity. When I caught it, I'm like, okay, just hit it hard. Out the backside, and I'm like, okay, this could be, oh, nobody's here. I can run this guy. I feel him getting close, but it's just like when you're racing. You only need to go a little bit faster than the guy you beat. You don't have to go sell out.
Okay.
You're getting close, but at the end of the day, it's about winning the game. It ain't about if you get it by an inch, you get it by a yard, you get it by 3 yards. As long as I'm ahead of him and I get across that goal line before he get me, it's touchdown. So it don't matter. Oh, everybody, man, on that picture, look like he almost got you. What does almost get you? Nothing. You can either win or lose. I won, he lost.
That's it.
Sanders.
That's it.
Let's talk about
Deion
Sanders, because that was his team, the Falcons. Let's talk about Deion. He's coaching in Mississippi now. How do you feel about him bringing the NFL to the collegiate level? He's not the first to ever do it, but this is HBCU we're talking about, and that's a big deal for us.
Well, I mean, if you know Deion Sanders, Deion is prime time.
Yes.
I don't think Deion does anything half-stepping. He's always he carries himself at a high level. He does things as a standard. Anything he puts his name on, it has to be his standard. And I think, growing up, it was a big thing to go to a Valley Jackson State game or Jackson State Alcorn, Mississippi Valley State Alcorn. I think he's bringing that vibe back to SWAC football. And, I mean, you can't turn the TV on right now without talking about Jackson State and Deion. Good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, he's bringing the publicity back to SWAC. Unfortunately, it's during the COVID time, but I think he's bringing the publicity back that, the SWAC is going to get back to where it was, being a really good athletic school, good academically, getting the publicity that it needs. And, I mean, right now he's putting Mississippi on the map, definitely Jackson State. Kids, if you look at the science classes.
Mike, hold up.
Yeah, what's up?
Hold up, Mike. Hold up, man. I ain't trying to hear all that drunk. I ain't trying to hear that, brother. Now, why he couldn't come to the Valley? Now, you want to talk about the capital city or whatever. But why he couldn't come to the Valley?
They say if it don't make dollars,
that's what I want to know. But, hey, HBCU, hey, that's the way to go. So, I mean, hey, that's good that he's putting the HBCU back on the map. I'm gonna give him kahoots for that. But hey, the first game they play, boss, is us. Now you getting all those D1 prospects, and you want to come and play us? Come on, Mike. Come on, man.
Look.
Come on, Mike.
Listen to me. We don't have. We
Huh?
just got done. We just got done with our season, so I will be watching. I just need you to pick up your phone. Things don't go right for this Valley State. I need you to pick up your phone. That's all I'm saying. Can you pick up the phone? Or do I need to shoot you a text?
See what I mean, Mike? See what I mean?
Don't for anybody. I'm gonna watch the game. Just in case it don't go right. If it does go right, I'm gonna expect a text or call from you.
It was all right, Mike.
No dog in the, I have no dog in this fight. I am a fan. This give me some football during spring. I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna cheer both teams on. But just if it don't go right for your team, I'm gonna shoot you a text like, "Hey, Dion got that one, dog. He got it." That's it.
Hey, Mike, I'm valid to the heart. I'm valid through and through. Now, I might not have never beat Jackson State when I was in college. Now, back in the 80s, you know, be honest with you, back in the 80s, man, there were more people going to the pro from the SWAC, especially Jackson State. In the 80s?
100%,
right.
yeah.
Oh, my God, man.
But we're talking about this.
Coach Ricky Taylor tried to get me to go to Jackson State. W.C. Gordon came down and was recruiting me. Took me down to Jackson for the weekend and everything. And then I signed with Delta State. Coach Taylor said, "Who you signed with?" I said, I ain't signed yet. He said, "Stop lying to me. Look at this paper. Look at this paper. It says Delta State." He didn't even let me drive his car no more.
Listen. It has been a joy, man, talking to you and having you on our show. And please shoot Roger a text message or Roger shoot Mike a text message, however it may go. We're trying to get Dion on this show so we can see where his head is before the game, you know. But listen,
that's right.
I'm going to read this last comment and then I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for your time. Samuel Big Mac McPherson Sr. I don't know if you know him, but his grandfather was the pastor of Greater New Jerusalem over in Indianola across from Johnny Mac. So this is his comment. He says, "Great show. Delta love. Many battles with those Gentry Rams. Class of 98. Greenville High. I remember all of y'all. Spurlocks, Ellis Williams, Twins, Miles Randalls, Robert Kent, Dreyfus Kent, Big Hamp, Isaiah Ross, and many more of you guys." And that's somebody who actually knows. That's somebody who actually knows Indianola.
He's saying a lot of names right there. A lot of really good names. I mean, those are the guys that kind of, I got the opportunity to play with Isaiah, Miles, Robert. Dreyfus was a little older, but I mean, you look at Ellis, Twin. I used to go to those games when my cousin Steve Hayes used to play. You know, I was a fan. I run around and, you know, you imitated those guys. And again, it was a blessing. Thank you for thinking of me to be on the show. I hope y'all watch the Super Bowl. Make sure y'all cheering for the right team now. Bucks.
We're gonna shoot you a text.
Please,
I'm just joking. Listen, thank you so much, man. I don't take this thing lightly. And we're hoping that we can bring you back on the show. But I wanted to know if you can leave our children with some encouraging words who are out for this pandemic in Sunflower County, because there's a rift right now and a lot of concern and coming from Otis Anthony's son, who is speaking out, and they're saying, you know, we know that you guys are going to basketball games and things like that, but can we at least go to school? Something to that magnitude. They're asking for hybrid, you know, and during this moment, I know that there are schools in Mississippi that are hybrid, operating. Some days they go, some they're virtual. Can you say something to the youth to let them know that it's gonna be all right?
I think it's gonna be okay. I think for me, I mean, I just went through a year of getting tested 3 times a week. I mean, very uncomfortable getting it up your nose, but for me, this is how I feed my family, and being able to go to school, being around the kids, and then also my wife, she teaches at Philadelphia High School. She goes to work every day. My kids go to school. I have a daughter who is graduating. Their graduation is going to be different. This is something that I never thought I would see in my lifetime, but I think it's something that that they have to understand, that this is part of life. There's going to be things that happen that you don't understand or that you can't deal with. It's not about, okay, well, my life is over. It's not, because it could be so much worse. So you always try to find the silver lining or the bright spot. And the bright spot of it is, when you go to college, kids that I deal with every day, their classes are online. So if this is something that, it might go for the next year, next 2 years, get used to it. And then only that, I think, look at the bright side of it. A lot of kids wouldn't be in college or get the opportunity to go to college because of state tests, because of ACT.
Right.
Those things have been waived, I know, at least for last year. And that's how a lot of kids got in college. So just with the good, you got to take the bad. And just with the bad, you got to find some good in it. And just understand that it's not going to be like this always. For me, I take it as a blessing, because me and my wife, I mean, we've been married 14 years. I'm 38 years old. She's 37. And the pandemic hit, that was the first time probably I'll probably say ever in my life that me, my wife, and my kids sat down and had dinner together multiple times in a week. So the pandemic for me was a blessing, because it made everything go back to when we grew up, and it wasn't no going out to eat. You ate at the dinner table, and if you didn't eat what mama cooked, then you starved. So it slowed everything down. It gave me an opportunity to spend time with my wife, spend time with my kids, and just do simple things like go play basketball in the yard, catch the football with my kids, because otherwise we were always in passing. It was never enough time in the day.
Shout out to your wife.
A shout out to my wife, because she's the soldier. I get a lot of pats on the back and, well, you're doing so well, but my wife is a teacher. She's going into administration. She just got an administration license. She's a mother of 5 kids, 3 girls, 2 boys. She gets them to practice. She's a basketball coach. She makes my job so much easier. So big shout out to her for, just who she is. I'm sure I get on her nerves. So just thankful
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
Get on her
That's
nerves.
all right.
So it's just a blessing. So but she makes it the car go right now, and it's just being thankful. So
Well, Mike, let me tell you, we're gonna get ready to close this out, and I want to let you know one thing. And no, I'm not trying to be soft or anything like that. But you know what, man? I've always idoled you, man. I've always idoled me being old. You've always carried yourself in a class 1 way. Ever since I've known you, ain't never shared it away from speaking to me or speaking to anybody to that effect. I mean, come on, Mike Spurlock called me back today. You didn't have to call me back. You could have texted me, but you called me back. And that really means a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to let you know that. And I want to,
not to cut you off, but growing up, you saw so many people that you wish you could meet, and you heard the stories about them and this and that. But my parents weren't like that. My brothers weren't like that. And a lot of times people are like, well, I mean, you know how it is in the hood. Well, he done made it. He done forgot about us. I wanted, especially kids and just people,
you never change,
to know that you can be the same person. You don't have to do the same things or be in the same circumstances, but you can go back to that area, because, again, you never know who's watching. I want other kids to know that I lived on Walker and Bates. And again, you go back, Porter Drive, Aquarius, all
Southgate.
those streets back there.
Southgate.
Southgate, you know, I could sit in my yard and see Southgate and see things that I knew either I wanted to be a part of or I didn't want to be a part of. And at the same time, those same people, not that they were bad, they were just doing what they felt like they needed to survive. But what my blessing is to them was, their blessing to me was, Spurlock, you play ball, you play sports, you don't need to be around here. They were respectful enough, you know, and they knew what they were doing was wrong, but that's how they had to survive. And they knew as well, hey, you go in a whole nother direction from me. I ain't gonna stop you doing that, and I ain't gonna help you get into what I'm doing.
And Mike, you know, you never changed up. Whenever I needed an interview, whenever I needed to talk with you, even though the magazine was not even mainstream, you know, you never said, that's not a big name, so you need to talk to my PR person. You never did that to me. This Mike magazine was always serious to me, and it was serious to you. And I thank you so much for the opportunity. I could jump out on you and put the magazine in your hand and say, look, can you take a picture right quick? And you say, sure. And for that, I am very grateful, because, you know, not everybody is willing to hold your Mike magazine up and say, you know, snap my picture. They don't want to do it. But I thank you. You stay true to Indianola. And I grew up in Southgate. You knew my brothers, and I'm grateful, you know, that you never changed up. Let's talk briefly before I go. Canadian football. The Canadian Football League. I will be interviewing Robert Kent on this show, Rogers and I. That's important as well. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of Canadian football?
Well, I think it's, you know,
it has its
a lot
place.
of people, it most definitely, a lot of people either come from Canadian football or that's how they make their bones, you know, and I think Canadian football is awesome. I got a friend of mine who is, that I end up coaching with. He ended up winning the Grey Cup before. His name is Kerry Joseph. And, you know, you just learn so many things about it. It's still football. It's not the NFL, but in Canada, it's the same thing. The field is a little bigger. I want to say it's maybe another player on both sides, but you still get an opportunity to play the game away from high school, away from college. And anytime you get to do that, to pursue your career and prolong a child's game, oh, it's a blessing, man. And my hat goes off to Robert Kent, childhood friend that I continue to try to stay in contact with. I always see him winning some type of award or some type of championship.
Yeah.
I tell people today, Robert Kent is the same Robert Kent from Huff Street that I knew. Like, he's still playing the game as if he's a 12-year-old kid. And that's what it is, man. That's
Tom Brady, baby.
Oh, yeah, having that opportunity.
Remind me of Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, in Canadian football, no matter how you do it, they all pay the job. And if they say you got to go do it in Canadian football, if you want it bad enough, you can go do it, you know. And then it also gives you opportunity to go to another country that you probably otherwise wouldn't get the opportunity to do.
Thank you so much. You have your family members on here. Nick Spurlock came on. I want to say shout out to my classmate, Latasha Spurlock. Hey, sweetie. Shout out to my classmate, Latasha Spurlock, because she helped me to make this thing happen, along with my cousin, Regina Simpson. So thank you so much. And we're going to let you go. Roger, do you have any other words?
Until we get Roger, I just want to thank you all for thinking enough of me to have me on your show. Again, we born and raised in Indianola. I'm thankful. Anytime you want me on your show, I would love to be a part of it and continue to do what you're doing as well. And I wish you best of luck and enjoy your birthday.
Thank you.
She probably already enjoyed it, Mike.
It's my birthday.
Hey, I'm just playing, cuz. But But like y'all said, this is real talk, real conversation across Mississippi. Glad to have you, Mike, man. I mean, hey, you the best, bro. You the best. You the best. You the best.
Hey, I'm the man behind the man, you know. So,
didn't I tell you stop being so humble, man? Didn't I tell you stop being so humble, Mike?
Y'all be good. Thank y'all.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.